Hello everyone, my name is Alana. Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like of caution. Young Sheldon Season 6 Episode 10 Spoilers. The idea that George is Brenda's secret boyfriend is strongly implied in Young Sheldon Season 6, and it's likely true. Even before making his Young Sheldon debut, George had a negative reputation due to Sheldon's stories on The Big Bang Theory. But having an affair was maybe his greatest violation as a family man. It was suggested in Young Sheldon Season 4 that Brenda Sparks, who is now divorced, might be George's mistress. Following a period of neglecting the captivating plotline, Young Sheldon Season 6's textbook flirting and Sunday pancakes. The notion that Sheldon's father is having an extramarital affair with their neighbor is reiterated in this episode. The boy genius claims that Sheldon unintentionally interrupted his father while having sex with an unidentified woman. Although Sheldon's George cheating story is rendered implausible by Young Sheldon, CBS still intends to carry out the character's accusations. There is growing interest in watching this catastrophe unfold on the small screen as the family comedy continues in the established timeframe of The Big Bang Theory. But in between, Georgie's surprising Mary's potential affair and pregnancy announcement had put George's infidelity scandal on hold, until Young Sheldon Season 6 successfully brings it back to life. Associated with Young Sheldon deepens the Nobel Prize plot hole in The Big Bang Theory finale. In the Young Sheldon Season 4 finale, Brenda and George initially become romantically involved. Following a heated argument with Mary, the Cooper patriarch stormed out of the house and met his neighbor at the neighborhood pub. The two struck up a conversation, but it soon descended into flirtation. Although nothing happened between them, they both became aware of how attracted they were to one another. However, Season 5 of Young Sheldon ultimately abandoned the entire plotline in favor of concentrating on Mary's potential liaison with Pastor Rob. Since Brenda's later Young Sheldon appearances have grown infrequent, it is challenging to evaluate her developing relationship with Sheldon's father. Given that Mary and George have managed to revitalize their marriage in Young Sheldon Season 6, it appeared for a time that CBS had simply forgotten about the captivating plotline. In addition to separating Mary from Pastor Rob, being ejected from the church gave her the opportunity to put her family first again. In some way, it made her more amiable and entertaining, which George and the other Coopers liked. This is why the abrupt resuscitation of George and Brenda's possible affair plot in Young Sheldon Season 6, Episode 10 so surprising. Before textbook flirting and Sunday pancakes, there was no sign that George would be the main topic of the episode. Rather, the Young Sheldon Season 6 outing's official promotion focused on Mary's discovery of a new social circle and the growing complexity of Mandy and Georgie's relationship. The prospect was a surprise when the episode's largest revelation was made: that the affair between George and Brenda has been ongoing for some time. Brenda got the notion when her pals excitedly talked about how she had a secret boyfriend who might be married, which is why suggested that Mary's secret boyfriend is George based on Brenda's anxious expressions and her friend's misgivings. But when Sheldon's father had to address Brenda about seeing someone, as if he weren't her enigmatic boyfriend, Young Sheldon muddled matters. The fact that George was forced to meet with Brenda in secret proves that they have been in contact throughout this time, regardless of their formal relationship status. There is a chance Brenda and long ago, George began his romance with Young Sheldon. If this is the case, George's lack of genuine interest in repairing their marriage makes Mary's attempt to do so all the more heartbreaking. Related, Young Sheldon acknowledges one major actor issue at last. Despite how tragic it is that Mary has been trying to rekindle their romance while George has been having an affair, there are a few reasons why this makes sense. CBS has attempted to postpone George's adultery, but as the plot of The Big Bang Theory progresses, they are forced to address the contentious issue at last. Storyline. Although it is essential to lay the foundation for it as soon as possible, doing so now would railroad all other ongoing plots in light of everything that is going on with the Coopers. Returning to Brenda as the mistress in George's protracted young Sheldon cheating scandal is their best option. Young Sheldon's storytelling benefits from this approach to handling the delicate topic. Since the family comedy previously made it clear that George's extramarital affair is mostly taking place off-screen, the Big Bang Theory prequel is no longer required to portray it clearly. Viewers are being spared the graphic details of the Cooper patriarch's adultery in order to keep the tone largely humorous. That is, until Sheldon's notorious story of walking in on George having sex with her mistress in his parents' bedroom is finally addressed. Young Sheldon must depict the entire event because it had such a profound effect on the socially awkward genius. Young Sheldon's creation of TBDT plot gaps is well known. It appeared for some time that young Sheldon would once more disregard established continuity by ignoring George's infidelity scandal, particularly following his developing romance with Brenda was put to the sidelines. Young Sheldon Season 6 can, however, refrain from delving farther into it for the time being since that it has been established that they still communicate with one another without anyone else knowing. There are plenty of other plot lines for the show to concentrate on, but if history is any guide, CBS won't rely on this one. In any event, Young Sheldon Season 6 is far from finished. In addition, Season 7 of The Big Bang Theory already has a prequel promised, giving CBS some wiggle room in pacing the Cooper patriarch's cheating scandal narrative. It's also worth noting that the affair leads to the George's tragic young Sheldon death, which further dissuades the network from actively tackling the complicated plotline yet, as losing George could ultimately spell the end of young Sheldon. So, is Brenda's secret boyfriend in young Sheldon really George? The truth may shock you. If you're a young Sheldon fan, you've probably noticed something a bit curious in the recent seasons. Brenda, the charming but mysterious character at the university, seems to have a secret boyfriend, one that she's kept under wraps. The question on everyone's mind: is it possible that Brenda's secret boyfriend is none other than George Cooper, Sr., Sheldon's father? Let's dive deep into this wild theory, because the truth may just surprise you. Brenda's mysterious love life. The build-up first. Let's backtrack a bit. Over the past few seasons of Young Sheldon, Brenda has been a somewhat background character. A university professor who works with Sheldon, Brenda has always seemed a bit more private than other characters. But when the topic of her love life starts surfacing, fans couldn't help but notice something too cagey when it comes to discussing her romantic relationships. A couple of episodes hint that she may have a secret partner, someone she doesn't want to talk about publicly. Enter George Cooper, Sr. For those who are familiar with the original Big Bang Theory show, George Sr. isn't exactly known for his exemplary behavior. But could it be possible that he's found someone in his life to love? And could that person be Brenda? George Cooper, Sr., the secret heartthrob? Here's where things start to get interesting. In Young Sheldon, George Sr. is portrayed as a somewhat flawed character. He's a high school football coach, and his relationships are often strained due to his tendency to be emotionally distant and occasionally irresponsible. However, the show does give us glimpses into George's softer side, particularly when it comes to his family. He's a loving father, even though he's often at odds with Sheldon's eccentricities. But here's the twist. Could George, with all of his imperfections, be hiding a secret romantic relationship with someone like Brenda? The two seem to have a lot of chemistry, at least in the way they interact with one another. And considering the nature of George's character, it wouldn't be out of the question for him to start something with someone he's comfortable with, especially someone who understands the pressures of academia and intellectual life like Brenda. The evidence that points toward George and Brenda. Now let's look at the key moments from the show that make this theory seem less far-fetched. The tension between George Sr. and Brenda. There have been subtle moments where the two characters seem to share a little more than just professional respect. The awkward exchanges, the way they look at each other, could it be an indicator of something deeper? When George visits the university for some reason or another, there's an undeniable chemistry. Could this be the setup for a blossoming relationship? Brenda's secrecy. Brenda's reluctance to talk about her personal life could be a big clue. After all, if she were dating George, keeping things secret makes sense. George is still married, though his marriage to Mary Cooper has faced numerous challenges. Given that George Sr. is dealing with a complex home life, it's possible that Brenda might want to avoid any public speculation or drama that could arise from being involved with him. George's personal struggles. On the other hand, George Sr. has been going through his own rough patches. His relationship with Mary has been on the rocks, and he's not exactly the most emotionally available guy. This creates the perfect conditions for him to lean on someone like Brenda, who's intelligent, independent, and caring in her own way. The fact that Brenda is involved in the academic world could make her a natural confidant for someone like George, who has always been more blue-collar. The timing? The timing of the relationship is also noteworthy. As young Sheldon progresses, George's life becomes more complicated. His family dynamics are changing, and the strain of his marriage to Mary is becoming more apparent. Could Brenda be the one person George has leaned on during this difficult time? As fans, we know that George is prone to making mistakes, but could he be seeking solace in Brenda's understanding nature? Could it be more than just a theory? While we can't say for sure that George Sr. and Brenda are involved, at least not yet, the theory has some compelling elements that make it worth considering. There are certainly a lot of parallels between their characters, and both have personal lives that are a bit messy at the moment. The idea that these two would find comfort in one another isn't out of the realm of possibility. Moreover, the relationship would add layers to the Young Sheldon series. The show often takes complex emotional issues, like George and Mary's marriage struggles, and turns them into relatable, heartfelt moments. Adding Brenda to the mix could serve as a catalyst for even more emotional growth, both for George Sr. and for the show's other characters. Why fans are shipping the in-show evidence that's leading fans to believe in this theory. There's also a growing fan base online that ships the idea of George and Brenda as a couple. Fans love the idea of a romance blossoming between these two characters who, on the surface, might not seem like a natural match. But that's exactly why it works for viewers. Young Sheldon thrives on surprising relationships and unexpected connections. Fans are also drawn to the potential for drama and humor that would come from such a relationship. The idea of George Sr. trying to hide a romance from his family, especially Sheldon, would lead to some classic sitcom moments. On the other hand, seeing George's more vulnerable side could help redeem his character in the eyes of the audience. Who wouldn't want to see George learn and grow from a relationship with someone like Brenda? What's next for Brenda and George? While we don't have definitive confirmation about the nature of Brenda and George's relationship yet, there are plenty of signs that point toward this theory being true. As the season progresses, we may learn more about Brenda's personal life and whether or not George plays a role in it. Will they come out in the open with their relationship, or will it remain a secret for now? Only time will tell. In any case, it's clear that young Sheldon has left fans with a lot to speculate about when it comes to George and Brenda. Whether it's a one-time fling or something more serious, it's clear that the dynamic between these two characters will continue to intrigue audiences for the foreseeable future. So keep watching, there's definitely more to come. The conclusion: is George really Brenda's secret boyfriend? While we can't say with 100% certainty that George Cooper Sr. is Brenda's secret boyfriend in Young Sheldon, there's certainly enough evidence to make this theory highly plausible. From the chemistry between the characters to the timing of George's personal struggles, The idea of a romance between George and Brenda feels more and more likely as we continue to watch the show unfold. For now, we'll have to stay tuned to see if this secret relationship ever becomes public knowledge on the show. One thing is for sure, if George and Brenda are truly a couple, it will add some much-needed depth to both their characters and the overall plot of young Sheldon. Stay tuned because you won't want to miss what happens next. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.